Hey, my friend Adam here, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to create the perfect offer so you can get more clients, make more money, and grow your agency faster than you ever thought possible. Whether you're just starting out, you're stuck at just 2 or 3 clients, or you're doing great, but you're unable to unlock that next level of success, this video is going to fix all of that for you by unpacking one of, if not the most important elements to your agency's success, which is that irresistible offer, essentially making sure that you're doing the right things in the right place for the right people. And just so you know, this video is worth your time, and I actually know what I'm talking about just in case we're just meeting for the first time. Well, I've built multiple 7-figure agencies over the past 10 years, have worked with clients like Meta, Google, Amazon, Snapchat, Adobe, Logitech, and tons more. So with all that said, let's dive right in, starting by talking about what this irresistible offer thing really is about, because believe it or not, so many people mess this thing up right from the beginning, and that's essentially setting you up for failure before you even start. Essentially, your offer is not what you do. This means that it's not Facebook ads, it's not Google, it's not landing pages or copywriting or consulting or anything like that. Your offer and the bones that go behind it are the results that you deliver, the outcome, the end result, all of the things that your clients are going to get on account of having done business with you and with your agency. That is what your offer is all about. When we talk about what you do, the specifics around sort of those tangible services, the things that come to mind, again, like Facebook ads, Google ads, SEO, this causes you to be put into a bit of a commodity bucket. So when people are comparing different agencies or consultants to work with, they're comparing you to every other Facebook ad person out there, every other funnel builder out there, every other website designer out there. And that is not the kind of place that you want to put yourself, because then you're going to be forced to charge commodity pricing, which is the absolute lowest price possible. And then it's this lose-lose race to the bottom, which whoever charges the cheapest price wins, when they actually lose. So in order to deliver an ideal end result, an ideal benefit to someone, first we have to figure out who this person is and what are their pains, their problems, their fears, their frustrations, all of these different elements. I call these miseries and miracles. And these are incredibly important to figure out for your niche, for your target market, for the kind of client that you want to work with. And there's no shortcut around this. Anybody that's promising that you're going to be able to create an irresistible offer by just like picking a random one out of the sky or copying it off some other agency's page, they're setting you up for failure, because your offer and the success that you're going to have with that offer is going to be directly related to the relevance and the irresistibility of that offer to the target market, to the ideal client avatar that you're trying to serve, which means that we've got to understand what they want, what their pains are, what their problems are. So again, miseries. These are pains, problems, fears, frustrations, bad stuff, all the bad things. All the bad things they're trying to get away from. Miracles, wants, goals, dreams, desires. All the good things they're trying to move towards. Your offer, your agency, you're there to act as a bridge away from bad and towards good. Of course, the only way that we're going to be able to articulate this, to spell it out, is to actually know what it is. So this is why step 1, as boring as it's going to sound, is always just a little bit of market research, a little bit of figuring out who that ideal client avatar is, so that we can then use all of that data, all of that information, in order to craft the most compelling, irresistible, and relevant offer possible for the people that we're trying to go out there and serve. Now, back to this part. The client doesn't care what you do. They don't care how you do it. They don't care really how long it takes you. And in fact, shorter is better. They don't care how much work you're putting in. They don't care anything about that. All they care about are the results. And this is why we always need to be focused on making sure that we're clearly communicating the results, the benefits, the outcome, the end state, rather than the specifics of what you do. Also, when we're talking about different kinds of problems that we can be solving, different kinds of clients that we can be working with, there's essentially a few different ways of looking at this. The best way I've found is with a bit of a chart like this, where on this side, we have small problems, and on this side, we have big problems. Unsurprisingly, solve small problems, make small money. Solve big problems, make big money. solve biggest problems, make biggest money. It really is that simple. And it's kind of this linear scale where the bigger the problem we solve, the more money that you're going to make. Now, later on in this training, I'm going to show you the services to offer, the problems that they solve, the way to do it in the shortest and most effective point of time. But again, this all stems from really knowing these guys here, the miseries and the miracles. We've got to find the biggest and most painful problems that we can possibly solve for someone so that they're going to be willing to take action now and pay you the highest possible amount to have that solved for them. There's another added benefit here, which is sort of this bit of a mental heuristic bias that happens when we're the ones to clearly explain our clients' problems to them. When we show them that we understand, this is essentially called empathy. We show them we know what they're going through. We show them we know how frustrating it is. We show them that we understand where they're at. They automatically assume that we have the solution to that problem, whether you do or not. You could be brand new, but if you're the one to clearly diagnose someone's problem, they naturally assume that you also have the solution. Otherwise, how would you know so much about the problem? So this makes client conversion, client acquisition, all of that significantly easier. But of course, there is another way to do this, which brings us really to rule number 1 when it comes to creating irresistible offers, which is we want to sell. Oh, that was a terrible vitamin. Bear with me. We're testing our art skills today. We want to sell painkillers, not vitamins. That's supposed to be a pill. We'll roll with it here. Sell painkillers, not vitamins. In marketing, we've got this thing called a bleeding neck. Let's write that out first. Multitasking. We've got this thing called a bleeding neck. This is going to be, it's a metaphor, ideally. We're not in the health and wellness industry. We're not fixing anybody. But this is the painful problem that is so severe, so incredibly important that someone needs to get it solved right now. For example, if you've got a sliver, so you got a little sliver, you may or may not want to get that dealt with. I mean, they're not comfortable. They're not fun. You got to get some tweezers and a pin and dig that thing out. It's gross. On the other hand, if you've got a bleeding neck, a cut artery, and you're just gushing, you got to get that handled now, like right now, like immediately, today, or you're going to die. Now, my strong suggestion is that we find the equivalent of the you're going to die offers and problems, and we focus there. Again, if we come back here, looking at all of these potential miseries, pains, problems, fears, frustrations, we got to find the biggest and most painful one. And then we have to package and position your solution as a painkiller and not as a vitamin. So let me explain really what that means. Let's start with vitamins. Vitamins are, we'll do it on sides, versus painkillers. It's a versus battle. Which one will make you more money? You know where this is going, but we need to drill this home. Vitamins, they're nice to have. Okay? It's a good thing. A little bit of added insurance for your health and possibly take care of some mineral and vitamin imbalances. They're future-oriented. This one's really important because what ends up happening is that when we're thinking about, and you can imagine this for yourself when you're trying to make a purchase decision and then just sort of overlay this onto your clients, when we're thinking about a decision that we have to make right now, it's a lot easier to take care of that bleeding neck if it's a problem now versus like, hey, I should probably get some kind of bleeding neck prevention tool at some point in the future, 5, 10, 20 years down the road, because we're not very good as humans at sort of adopting all of that long-term thinking into our plans and into our strategies, especially when there's so many other short-term pressing issues taking place right now. So if you're trying to sell vitamins for some future outcome that may or may not happen, you've just got a significantly harder uphill battle to fight. And it doesn't really make sense when there's so many other more pressing, more urgent, more painful problems that you could be solving right now. All right, therefore, harder to sell. This is because they're also selling some kind of intangible benefit in the future that they may or may not experience. And normally, these require some kind of effort. You got to remember to take your vitamins. You've got to take them for an extended period of time. You've got to do it over and over again. If we're thinking about this from like a marketing context or a marketing example, like websites often fall into the vitamin category. Not against building websites completely, but they are a more challenging offer to sell because a website, arguably mandatory to have, but like even a basic website will pretty much do the trick 99% of the time. If you've got some contact details on there, a little bit about pages, some services, some information for someone to find, you're going to be okay. So trying to convince a client they need a super incredibly fancy website that has all these bells and whistles, typically we're not going to get a significant ROI for the client. We're going to talk more about that later as well. Future oriented, I mean, takes time to build. If you're going to be doing SEO on it, it's going to take a bit of time to rank. All of these things, they're just a little bit more challenging when compared to a painkiller. Let's talk about painkillers. These are typically need to have. Think about the bleeding neck. I guess if you got a bleeding neck, you need a painkiller and a bandage and an emergency room, but we'll move on. Present oriented. This is something right now. For example, if I were trying to sell you a bottle of headache pills, it'd be a whole lot easier to sell you a bottle of headache pills if you had a headache now. Being like, do you have a headache? Because I have headache pills. Pretty sure that is the medical term for them. On the other hand, hey, do you think you might get a headache in like 2 weeks? You should buy these headache pills just in case. Might be happening. You never know. So present oriented, take care of something right now. Therefore, easy to sell and often little to no effort. Little, no effort. Take the pill, take it once, your problems go away. There we go. Make so we can see. Important when we're selling agency services that we're going to make sure that we make it as easy and as streamlined and as comfortable and fast for the client as humanly possible. Again, we're going to talk about some services and how to do all of that in just a second. But that is rule number one. We always want to focus on painkillers instead of vitamins because it's better. It's just better. You'll make a lot more money. Rule number two. SQLs versus MQLs. Now here's the deal with MQLs versus SQLs. First of all, this is the nerdy part of the video where we talk about marketing terms that nobody outside of the world of marketing has ever heard of before. But they're important terms because they carry with them a certain understanding about the kind of person that makes up an SQL and an MQL. And there's perhaps no better way to do this than with more art. At the top of the pyramid here, we have SQLs. Here, we've got this like weird gray area of SQL, MQL. And at the bottom, we have MQL. Now, what am I talking about? SQL is sales qualified lead. So I can, you know where I'm going with this one then, marketing qualified lead. Let's make that in again. Shrink and pinch. Come on, whiteboard, you can do it. We did it. Why is this important? We need to differentiate the difference between sales and marketing. Sales, typically one-to-one, happens right now. The actual exchanging of cash. That's a sales transaction. You make money, you typically do it on a one-to-one basis through a sales call, through an in-person presentation. Marketing, on the other hand, one-to-many. It facilitates the sale, but it doesn't push them over the edge and actually get them to take action. Now, as a self-confessed diehard marketing nerd who loves this, has been doing it for the majority of my adult working life, who thinks everything about it is absolutely amazing. Simply, it would be irresponsible of me to not say that sales are important, to not say that sales are probably the most important, especially if your agency right now is doing anything less than like 10 grand, 20 grand a month. You don't need more marketing. You need more sales, which means more direct outreach, more conversations, more appointments, and more sales calls. You don't need more content, more SEO on your own website. You don't need a new website or a fancier logo. None of that stuff is going to matter. We need to focus then on looking for SQLs versus MQLs. So who are these people? Well, SQLs, they make up about 5% of the market. So if you think of all of the potential clients that you could potentially serve, there's like 5% of that market that are SQLs, sales qualified leads. They're ready to buy right now. So they've got cash in hand, cash or credit card in hand. They've got a problem. They're aware of the problem. They've got that bleeding neck. They're looking for someone to go out there and actually execute on this and help solve that problem for them. Then at the very base of the pyramid, actually, we'll go in order to keep these things clear. This is like 15%-ish of like this SQL, MQL hybrid area. You're still cool to go here, but they're going to buy in the next, like we'll say 30 to 90 days. So this is where we do need nurturing and follow up. And we always want to make sure that we are doing our follow up. We'll talk more about that another day. Incredibly important, but we need to make sure that we're hitting our touch points because they may not be ready to buy right now, but they will be soon. But down here at the bottom, we've got our 80-ish%. And they're going to buy in, we'll say 4 to could be 18 months. A long time. Now, this is the vast majority of the market. 80% of your potential clients for your agency are going to buy in 4 to 8 months. And the problem that a lot of people make is they're like, well, this is a huge portion of the market. We should go after them with content marketing. I should start a YouTube channel. I should create a podcast. I should do guest blogging. I should blog in general. I should do all of the things. When the reality is, unless your agency is already doing like multi-six, at least 50K a month, probably up to 100K a month, we need to focus basically exclusively here. Exclusively on the SQLs. We need to make direct offers. We're going to talk about that in a second because that's going to make you more money than probably anything else. But we need to focus on the people that have that problem right now by essentially calling them out directly. We can get fancy later with our copywriting and with our strategies, but for now, just simply saying like, are you this person who has this problem? I have a solution. And then putting it out in front of them is going to do wonders for your agency. And if you're stuck, if you're stalled, if you're not growing, simply incorporating that single piece of advice will be an absolute game changer for you. Short story. When I first started my agency, I fell into the trap of believing that content marketing was the be all and end all for B2B service businesses like agencies. So I created all the content. It was all free. I did the blogs. I created tons of social media content. I just gave away so much value after value after value. And I made very little money. And then someone much smarter than me said, you need to make offers and tell people what you have to sell. So I started making offers. And unsurprisingly, I started making money. And then I made more offers. And I made more money. And then I started focusing exclusively on these SQLs and doing more outreach and getting in front of them by any means necessary. And I started to make millions and millions of dollars. It was directly related. In fact, I heard it said once that the amount of money you make can be directly related to the amount of offers that you make. And I would absolutely say that is true. All right. Rule 3 on the topic of offers. What kind of offers? When it comes to irresistible offers, make direct offers. For the love of God and all things holy, please make direct offers. Please, my friend, if you leave here with anything, leave here with this. You got to make direct offers. What's a direct offer? Hey, buy this thing. That might be a little aggressive, but like the point is we're putting something in front of someone, in front of an SQL, and we're saying, do you have this problem? Because if you have this problem, I have this solution. Would you like to buy it? That's probably a better example of a direct offer. Would you like to buy this thing? Not, hey, buy this thing. That's just mean. Would you like to buy this? An indirect offer, on the other hand, is, hey, here's some free content. Would you like to watch this video? Here's a free lead magnet. Would you like to sign up for a free training? Do you want to have this thing? Do you want this other thing? Anything that doesn't directly lead to a sale is an indirect offer. Typically, and the way that a lot of copywriters refer to this as like brand awareness offers versus hardcore direct offers. There's a fantastic page that I'm going to put up on the screen here because I'm not going to try and draw this chart out, but essentially it's going to show you all of the difference between brand content versus offer content. Now, brand content are those indirect offers. These are things like, get this thing and it's fun, and watch this video and listen to this podcast and download my lead magnet, join my email list. All things that can be important from a marketing perspective, but in regards to making you fast cash and the most money possible as quickly as possible, just some of the least effective forms. Now, Bob Bly, also known as, fantastic copywriter, put together the chart where he compared the money that you make by making different kinds of offers, and well, you can see it all here. So essentially, if we make offer-driven content, I have this thing, would you like to buy it? It'll cost us around $50 to $100 a sale in regards to total marketing spend, and it could be ads, could be time, whatever it is. But let's go right to the bottom. Primarily brand-driven. This is doing a bunch of content marketing, doing the podcast circuit, all of that stuff. $800 to $1,000 in order to get a sale. Now, forget the exact numbers behind this. What we're looking at more so is the scale of this, essentially charging a fraction, a tenth, if not less, of the cost and the time in regards to making a sale and getting a client by going direct with a direct offer and actually telling people what you have and not being ashamed about it. In fact, one of the biggest things that I see that stops so many agency owners from growing and getting more clients is this implied fear of selling, for fear of looking salesy or slimy or swarmy or any of those unattractive words. The reality is, if you actually care about what you're doing and you actually care about the people that you're serving, then not making that offer is doing them a huge disservice, because they're probably going to go to one of your less ethical, less effective competitors. It's also denying them of the solution to the problem that they have. For example, if I've got a solution to your bleeding neck, I've got something that's going to fix that up right now, send you on your way, you're going to be better than ever before. It's kind of unethical for me to just keep that to myself, right? Like, you've got a problem, I have a solution, but I'm not going to tell you about it. I'm just going to let you suffer. We don't want to be that guy. Nobody likes that guy. All right, moving on. Rule number 4, high ROI services. I feel very passionately about this one. I feel very passionate about all of these. High ROI. Don't fail me now, pen. High ROI services. Let's use a sports analogy. Let's draw a golf course. How bad could this go? Probably very bad. But this is going to be necessary to explain how this all works. So that's our course. We're going to say that's our green, and we're going to give ourselves a flag here. Multicolor flag. Nothing but the best. Now, and then we have our guy starting to drive. This is your client. That is not a hockey stick. That is a golf club. But we'll go with it. What do we mean? High ROI services, and how much more money can this make you? 5 times, 10 times. We found that typically around 8 times more profit. In fact, I'll link up a video at the end of this video that's going to show you more detail on the best services to offer and show you how to make essentially 8 times more profit with all of them. But what I want you to think of for now is this sort of different areas that your services can fall into in regards to getting them closest to the whole. The whole being the sale, right? So this is the sale. This is current position, wherever someone is right now. Now, we're going to do a bit of a perspective body swap here, but I want you to put yourself in the minds of your potential clients who have a business that they want to grow. Now, we could go in there and there's basically an infinite number of things that we can do from them, from ads to SEO to websites to landing pages to automations, email marketing, video. Everything that you could possibly think of falls under this massive umbrella of digital marketing. But there's certain things that they're going to be willing to pay way more for because they're going to be closer to the sale. So for example, in this spot down here, we're going to call these low ROI. And the reason they're low ROI is because they don't make an immediate or massive return on investment for the client, or at the very least, it's harder for you to justify or to prove. So these are things like content. They're things like, I'm running out of space, so let's see. There we go. They're things like anything to do with social media growth. So like posting, engagement growth. They're my least favorite of all things, which are vanity metrics. So if you're ever selling something like will help you get more likes or comments or shares, you got to stop. You got to stop right now. That is not a boat that you want to be rowing in for a very long period of time. Anything like that. These are low or ROI things for your clients. High ROI, on the other hand, are things that are going to make your clients a lot of money. The more money you make them, the more money you make. The longer they stick around for, the more they tell all their friends about just how great and amazing and wonderful you are. And you are pretty wonderful. So these are things that generate sales. They generate customers. They generate appointments. And arguably, we could also say they generate leads. Leads kind of follow or flow just like a little bit before the sale because we need to turn the lead into an actual paying customer. But if you're looking at the services that you could potentially offer and you find that you're ending up kind of over here more than over here, then something's gone wrong. And we need to tweak that. Otherwise, you're simply putting yourself in that commodity bucket again, where you become very replaceable by basically anyone else, because anybody can do content or social media growth or vanity type stuff. And even if you're really good at it, they still won't want to pay you a lot of money for a long period of time, because business owners are smart and they know that when they're putting out money into marketing, something that they often struggle to want to do anyway, they better be expecting some kind of ROI, return on investment, from the money that they're putting out there. So what do we do? Well, there's a few services that we use inside of HighLevel that make this significantly easier. Also, if you're not familiar with HighLevel, well, you got to be familiar with HighLevel at this point. If you've watched any of my content at all, you know this is the main software platform that we use inside of our agency, inside of the Agency Accelerator program. I've used it for years. There's a ton of places or a ton of free resources. I'll try and multitask again. HighLevelGuide.com. Also got something called a free agency growth kit. I'll make sure to put those links below. This is going to get you an extended free trial, a whole bunch of other additional trainings, a whole bunch of other free agency courses, access to a community, just a whole bunch of free stuff. So I'll make sure to put that link in the descriptions below. But for now, there's a few things that make HighLevel really interesting in regards to running and profiting from your agency, and a couple offers that we do. The first of which is a local phone number. So inside HighLevel, you're able to buy different phone numbers for your clients. And if you can get a new local phone number for them, it's like $1 or $2 a month, you can then send messages from it. You can do SMS replies. You can do missed call text back. We'll talk about in just a second. But what this enables you to do is essentially run their entire automated marketing campaigns all from inside the software without them needing to really touch anything at all. Very powerful. And of course, I already mentioned this really quickly, but missed call text back is one of the most powerful and probably easiest to sell services when you're talking to potential business owners and trying to get them to engage you with your marketing services. What missed call text back is exactly what it sounds like. Someone calls the business. If they don't get an answer, they call the next business. So what missed call text back does is they've got a missed call, because not everybody can answer the phone all the time, and they'll send a text back automatically through the software saying, "Hey, so sorry I missed your call. What can I help you with? Or can I guide you here?" Or provide some kind of other lead capturing question that guides that prospect in the right direction, and therefore collects the sale rather than having it get lost to the competitors. All right, next is the mobile app. You can white label this, or you can just leave it unbranded. My recommendation, if you're running an agency with anything more than 3 clients, you definitely want to white label it, because then you can put your design and your logo and all of your brand colors and all of that on it. But aside from having a ton of features that are beyond what you even need, the big ones are, we're able to connect your client's Facebook, Instagram, and Google business profile to it, so that when we're having messages come through all of the campaigns that you're running, they show up directly on the app. And I can tell you from personal experience, after having done this for well more than a decade with thousands of different clients, there's something really powerful when you start running a marketing campaign for a client and then their phone buzzes with the new leads and the new sales and the new appointments and the new bookings, and all of that just comes in automatically. Because their previous experience with marketing agencies, I'm willing to bet, was pretty sketchy. They probably hired some other marketing agencies before. They were promised the moon and they were delivered basically nothing. Like the agency either didn't do a good job or didn't really care, or they were doing vanity metric stuff and getting them likes and comments and shares, all that nonsense. And now you come in here, you set up a new campaign for them, and they start getting calls, they start getting leads, they start getting real business, and they can see it, and you can prove it. So it's not like you're just doing nothing, but you're actually proving that you know what you're doing and you're delivering results, which cements your relationship, solidifies your ability for future earnings. Powerful, powerful stuff. All right, reputation management. Reputation management. Especially important for any kind of local business for a million reasons, not the least of which are more good reviews look better than less good reviews. Not to mention, especially in regards to the Google business profile, if you're able to get more 5-star reviews for your clients, you will rank them higher. So it's like one of the main ranking factors for Google business rankings are the number of reviews that a business has. Citations is another one. We can actually do that as well inside HighLevel. Very powerful platform. Next, and this is the current hot selling feature right now. It's been around for a while. It's actually very cool. But you can decide how you want to position this or how you want to sell it. But AI-powered FAQ, answers, auto replies, etc. How this works is you essentially have your own AI-powered bot for each of your clients. So you can use this bot on Facebook, on Instagram. You can use it over SMS. You can put a little web chat widget right on the website that answers questions. You can train the bot automatically just by putting in the URL of your client's websites, or you can create a Google Doc with like frequently asked questions, simply upload that. The bot then goes in, it crawls all the answers, and it starts doing a lot of the heavy lifting for you. Incredibly powerful. Very cool. Like I said, it's been around for a while, but it's getting better now. So before, it used to sort of give you suggestions of like, hey, they asked this, you should say this. And now, if you want, you can flick it on and it just handles everything for you and has the full-on conversation. So, nifty little tool. But we need to go one step further. We need to talk about rule number 5, which is your offer should clearly demonstrate the following. If you want an irresistible offer, you need to demonstrate these things. Number 1, we talked about this really quickly at the beginning, but we need to talk about it again here because it is that important, and it might just be that tiny hinge that swings the big door. Because if we scroll all the way back up and we start looking at miracles and miseries, wherever they are, oh, they're way up there. There we go. This is what relevance is about. Relevance is about being relevant to the people that you're trying to serve. For example, if I'm trying to sell steak and I'm talking about the benefits of B12 and now it's grass-fed and organic and all of these things, but I'm speaking to vegans or to people that just don't like steak, nothing I say is relevant. And not only are they not going to buy it, they're going to think, who's this clown bag? Why is he talking to me about this thing that I don't even care about? And he's wasting his time and his energy and he looks silly and on and on. It's a bad place to be. We can fix all of that, by the way, just by being relevant. So you want to explain how your offer, how your agency is going to solve their problems. That's it. Solve their problems. If you haven't clearly identified and articulated what those problems are, you will not be able to clearly explain that you actually know what you're doing. You will not be able to get them results. Full stop. So we've got to make sure that it's relevant. Next, quantified value. This one is a little trickier, but ideally, what we call this is ultra-specific desired outcome. I'm not going to write that out because you've seen my handwriting. We wouldn't even figure it out. Quantified value delivers some kind of ultra-specific desired outcome. Again, this kind of circles back to relevancy. Quantified value is, what are you delivering? Are you getting them 10 new customers in 30 days? Are you getting them 30 booked appointments using your proprietary system? Are you getting them this and that and the other thing that they want? Are you increasing sales by 30%? Are you reducing refunds by 17%? Like, what is it that you do that is relevant to them? The more specific, the more tangible you can be, the better, because then they're actually able to visualize it rather than saying it's like, we'll grow your business. I don't know what that means. Like 1%, 10%, 100%, 1,000,000%. How much? What you going to do? How are you going to do it? Plus business, like, well, what if I run an auto shop or a plumbing business or a roofing company? The more specific you can be, the more you're going to cut through the noise of everybody else. And again, this is really why we focus on niching down so that your message can become just laser focused. All right, reduce risk. This one's important. I think it's been a little bit overblown lately. There's a lot of people talking about like 100%, 200% guarantees. Do this, do this, do this, and we'll send you all this, and we guarantee this, and we'll guarantee that. Yes, they can be effective, but I think they can also people can become over guaranteed immune or blind because they just hear it so much. So one way to sort of make your offer stand out is to provide just like crazy guarantees. We 100% guarantee this and this and this, which is good. You should have a guarantee. You should stand behind what you sell. But just like beating that horse to death and then beyond, but like all about the guarantee is not as effective as actually being relevant and providing some kind of quantified value of what you're actually going to do. For example, I don't really care about your guarantee if I don't even care about what you're selling. On the other hand, if you've done a really good job of communicating to me that you understand my pains and problems and fears and frustrations, you know where I'm coming from, you know where I want to go, and then you've put together what seems like a very reasonable solution and put that in front of me with maybe a little bit of social proof to show that this actually works, I'm far more likely to actually take you up on all of that offer. So how do we do this? Well, we can reduce risk in a number of ways. Obviously, the one that a lot of people talk about is the guarantee, but it is not the only way. There's also social proof, where we talk about other people that have got results. We show case studies, we show testimonials, we show things like that. There's also something called systems proof, which you can use if you're just getting started and you don't yet have social proof. Systems proof is a really powerful thing to do. Actually, let's break that down right now. It's worth talking about. So the systems proof is no matter what you do, you have a system, you have a methodology, you have a way of doing that thing. For example, let's say that you're doing Facebook ads. Well, you might have your Facebook ads, we'll call it a targeting trifecta, which is your proprietary way of making sure that you're putting the right message in front of the right person. And it could have to do with like your campaign structure of, we'll draw this out, of actually like setting up, okay, we do one campaign, we do 2 ad sets, we do 2 ads per ad set. And then on this one, we just have one, which typically just borrows off the best previous ad. We copy and paste over. We also have different levels of interest targeting, and we follow it with lookalikes for retargeting, whatever it is. If you're the one to actually walk through a proven system that you actually use and you show people step by step what that looks like, that implies authority. At the very least, it shows them that you know what you're talking about. For example, if I come to you and I was like, hey, hire me for your Facebook ads and I'll do your Facebook ads. It'll be good. It'll be good. On the other hand, I was like, look, we have a Facebook ads agency. Let me walk you through our Facebook targeting trifecta right now to show you what this looks like and show you if it may be a fit for you. First of all, we start with campaign structure. We figure out your business and this and this. Then we move to ad sets where we start testing different demographic, geographic, psychographic variables. We move on to ad copy. We have 3 different ways of using dynamic creative. We verify everything with breakdowns and placements in order to make sure we're only copying over the best ones. And we're walking this all through a system. Well, I mean, I think I proved my point, but clearly more effective. Okay, moving on. Differentiation. We're running out of space. Let's shrink this. Differentiation. Differentiation is really why you. Why not someone else? What makes you different, better than someone else in regards to all of the other agencies that someone could potentially choose? Why should they buy from you? Again, this is where we will use something like systems proof, some kind of signature system to really set yourself up from everybody else out there. And of course, when we put this all together, what we're really trying to do is a few different things. We're trying to get rid of a few different areas and we're trying to increase a few others. So we're trying to reduce time that it takes someone to get a result. We're trying to reduce effort that it's going to take. Again, remember back to painkillers versus vitamins. We're trying to reduce risk on their part. And what we're trying to do is increase the benefits that they're going to get. Obviously speed, which has to do with the opposite of time. Pretty much all of these things, we can always just use the opposite of them. Relevance and uniqueness, which has to do with differentiation, using your signature system, so on and so forth. Now, I appreciate that is a lot to take in, and we didn't have a chance to dive deep into the specifics on which services are going to be the best that are going to enable you to make a whole lot more money easily. And that's exactly why I've linked up a video right here that's going to show you the best services that you want to consider to make just a whole lot more profit. And of course, if you're interested in learning a little more about how we help agencies grow to 6 and 7 figures, I'll put that link down in the descriptions below. And otherwise, well, feel free to tap or click that now, and I'll see you in there in just a second.